Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more. Breaking updates. The global automotive industry is a vast and intricate network, stretching across continents and connecting millions of people, businesses, and economies. From the assembly lines in Europe to the bustling shipping ports in Asia and the showrooms in North America, every link in this chain plays a crucial role in keeping the world moving. When even a single part of this system falters, the consequences ripple outward, creating a domino effect that can disrupt industries and livelihoods far beyond the factory floor. Today, October 1st, 2025, Stellantis, one of the world's largest and most influential car makers, has made the difficult decision to halt production at several of its key European plants, sending shockwaves through the industry. This development isn't just about the cars themselves. It's about the thousands of jobs at stake, the prices consumers will pay, and the delicate balance of international trade that underpins the entire sector. Weak demand in Europe has left dealerships with unsold inventory, while harsh new U.S. tariffs have made exporting and producing certain vehicles financially unsustainable for Stellantis and its competitors. Stellantis now finds itself squeezed between a stagnant home market, where consumer confidence is low, and a lucrative but increasingly inaccessible U.S. market, where trade barriers are rising and competition is fierce. The silence echoing through factories from Italy to France is a stark reminder of just how interconnected our world has become, and how quickly global events can bring even the mightiest industries to a standstill. For thousands of workers, this sudden halt means uncertainty, anxiety, and real financial hardship. Many families now face an unclear future, unsure of when, or if, their jobs will return. For consumers, the impact could be felt in higher prices, fewer choices on the lot, and longer wait times for new vehicles, as supply chains struggle to adapt to the new reality. Governments on both sides of the Atlantic now face a critical test of their trade policies, as they scramble to respond to the economic and political fallout of Stellantis' decision. In this chapter, we'll explore the reasons behind Stellantis' move, which factories and regions are most affected, and what this means for the future of the global economy and the automotive industry as a whole. Around the world, industry leaders, workers, and consumers alike are watching closely, waiting to see what happens next, and how this pivotal moment will shape the road ahead. To truly grasp the current crisis facing the auto industry, it's essential to understand Stellantis, a global powerhouse born from the merger of Fiat Chrysler and PSA Group. This union created one of the world's largest automakers, combining decades of automotive heritage, engineering expertise, and a vast international footprint. Stellantis now oversees 14 iconic brands, including Jeep, Fiat, Peugeot, Dodge, and Citroën, with vehicles that appeal to drivers across Europe, North America, and beyond. Its diverse lineup means it's a familiar name in nearly every major car market. But this global reach also exposes Stellantis to the unpredictable risks of international trade disputes and shifting government policies. The company's operations span continents, making it especially vulnerable to changes in tariffs and regulations. Recently, U.S. tariffs on European-made cars have dealt a major blow to Stellantis, sharply increasing costs for vehicles like the Alfa Romeo Tonale, which is built in Italy and shipped to American buyers. These tariffs disrupt carefully planned supply chains and pricing strategies. Stellantis faces a tough choice: either absorb these new costs and risk shrinking profits, or pass them on to consumers, making their cars less affordable and less competitive in the U.S. market. For many buyers, even a small price hike can be a deal breaker. The company's innovative strategy of sharing vehicle platforms and parts across continents, once a major strength, has now become a liability. What was meant to streamline production and cut costs now exposes Stellantis to even greater risk from tariffs. Relocating production to avoid tariffs isn't a quick fix. Building new factories or retooling existing ones takes years of planning and billions of dollars in investment. It's a massive undertaking that can't happen overnight. While the tariffs were intended to boost U.S. manufacturing and protect domestic jobs, for Stellantis, they've created a no-win scenario, caught between rising costs and the challenge of shifting production. The result is mounting financial pressure, production slowdowns, and even temporary halts at some plants. Workers and suppliers are left in limbo, uncertain about the future. Stellantis now finds itself navigating a complex landscape where its global business model is at odds with rising protectionist policies and trade barriers. The current system is buckling under the strain, leading directly to today's factory shutdowns and leaving the future of Stellantis and its workers hanging in the balance. Stellantis's decision was driven by hard data, not just gut feeling or speculation. The company's leadership pored over market reports, sales figures, and economic forecasts, searching for answers in a sea of troubling numbers. What they found was clear. Plunging demand and a stagnant European market were putting immense pressure on automakers. Showrooms sat empty, and assembly lines slowed to a crawl as buyers hesitated. The Alfa Romeo Tonale, built in Italy, and once seen as a hopeful contender, saw its European sales drop a staggering 42% this year, just 10,940 units sold. This sharp decline sent shockwaves through the company and the industry. Meanwhile, US tariffs made exporting these vehicles even less competitive abroad, squeezing profit margins and limiting options for excess inventory. Its American twin, the Dodge Hornet, faced similar struggles. Despite a different badge and market, it too languished on dealership lots, unable to attract enough buyers. Across Europe, new car registrations barely grew, signaling a broader malaise. Stellantis's own sales fell over 8%, reflecting a trend that affected nearly every major automaker in the region. Producing more cars than the market could absorb led to bloated inventories and mounting costs. Parking lots filled with unsold vehicles became a common sight, tying up resources and space. The company had to act. Continuing at full tilt would only worsen the problem. Managers met with workers to discuss difficult decisions, knowing that production cuts would impact jobs and communities. Production halts are a painful but necessary correction to align supply with reality. Shutting down lines, even temporarily, is never easy, but it's sometimes the only way to prevent deeper financial wounds. Warehouses full of unsold cars tie up capital and threaten deeper losses. Every unsold vehicle represents money that can't be invested elsewhere, and the longer they sit, the more value they lose. The numbers made it clear. It was time to hit the brakes. Executives faced the press, explaining the tough choices ahead and the urgent need to restore balance. The market engine had stalled, leaving the industry at a crossroads, forced to rethink strategies and brace for an uncertain road ahead. The impact is most visible on the factory floor, where silence has replaced the usual bustle. Shutdowns target plants hardest hit by weak demand and tariffs, affecting thousands of workers. The Pomigliano plant in Italy, producing the Tonale, Hornet, and Fiat Panda, was among the first to go quiet. In France, the Poissy plant, home to the Opel Mokka and DS3, will suspend production for most of October. These moves are strategic responses to overflowing inventories and weak markets. Temporary layoffs and government support offer little comfort to anxious workers. When these factories stop, entire communities feel the shock. When a factory halts, the pain ripples far beyond its gates. Thousands of workers face layoffs or reduced pay, straining families and fueling anxiety. Suppliers, making everything from seats to microchips, must also cut back, triggering more layoffs. Local businesses lose customers overnight, threatening the economic fabric of entire towns. Generations have worked in these plants. Their closure shakes community identity and stability. Labor unions scramble to negotiate support and push for long-term solutions. Politicians face mounting pressure to act, as shutdowns become symbols in broader debates about trade and industry. The ripple effect turns a corporate decision into a full-blown socio-economic crisis. The stakes are high. Livelihoods, local economies, and political futures hang in the balance. The shutdowns are more than numbers. They're a crisis for real people. The fallout reaches consumers too. Expect higher prices and fewer choices at dealerships. With production paused, models like the Tonale and Hornet will become scarce, driving up prices. Dealers, facing limited inventory, have little reason to offer discounts. Shoppers may have to settle for alternatives they like less. Reduced variety means less competition and innovation, hurting buyers in the long run. Stellantis risks losing market share and brand loyalty if customers can't find their cars. The production halt is a short-term fix with long-term risks for both company and consumer. The marketplace becomes less dynamic and more expensive. The Stellantis shutdown sends shockwaves through the global supply chain. When assembly lines stop, suppliers, from engines to microchips, face sudden stop work orders and layoffs. The disruption cascades down to smaller suppliers, threatening businesses that depend on the auto sector. Lean, just-in-time manufacturing leaves little buffer for shocks like this. The entire system, efficient in good times, is exposed as fragile in crisis. A pause in one factory can ripple across continents. The shutdowns reveal just how vulnerable the global auto supply chain really is. Industry analysts and union leaders agree. Stellantis is making a tough but necessary choice. Analysts call it a perfect storm: flat markets, high costs, and punishing tariffs. The production halts are seen as a way to manage inventory and avoid deeper losses. But unions warn workers are paying the price for problems beyond their control. They're pushing for maximum support and demanding clarity on the company's future plans. Both sides worry these halts could signal more permanent restructuring if conditions don't improve. Calls grow for government action to resolve trade disputes and protect jobs. Stellantis' silent factories are a warning for the global auto industry and international trade. For consumers, expect higher prices and fewer choices, a direct result of protectionist policies. For workers, the future is uncertain. Their livelihoods are at the mercy of global forces. The crisis exposes the limits of tariffs and the vulnerability of labor in a globalized world. Policymakers face a test. Will they find solutions or let the industry drift further into crisis? The choices made now will shape the future of manufacturing, trade, and jobs on both sides of the Atlantic. The road ahead is uncertain, but the stakes could not be higher.